Hi everyone, welcome back to Social Studies with Miss Hall. Today is Friday that I'm filming, so I thought it would be fitting to wear my Amistad shirt as it's Friday, so we usually would wear our house shirts on Friday, so I thought it would be just a fun little piece of normalcy for you guys to see that I'm supporting my house, so go Amistad. Yes, so today we're going to be reading about Chapter 7, Lesson 3 in our Michigan Studies books. You can follow along with the other PDF that I attached. I'm on page 337. So, ideas to explore. Running for office. This is what people say when a candidate works to be elected to a government office. It can seem like a race to see who wins. People to meet. County clerk, the person who keeps the records for a county. County treasurer, the person who handles the money for county government. Registrar of deeds, the person who keeps records of the sale of homes and property in a county. So on the next coming slides, I put a slide together that has some pictures in our local county of Lenawee of who the people are, who is the county clerk, who's the county treasurer, and who's the registrar of deeds. I put the actual real people in our local community of what they look like so you could kind of get a visual of who we're talking about in this specific situation. Places to discover. Counties. Michigan has 83 counties, and each one is like a small state government. Courthouse. The building that is home for the county government and its courts. State House. One part of the state's lawmakers. State Senate. One part of the state's lawmakers. Also in some of the slides, I do have some pictures whenever on our 4th grade field trip we went to see the Capitol. It was really super cool. We got to go in the Senate and we got to go in the House of Representatives of the Capitol in Lansing, and so that was pretty cool. But remember, our county, when it says county, we're talking about Lenawee County. Some of you might live in Hillsdale County or Jackson County even, but the school where we go to, Addison, is in Lenawee County. So just keep that in mind. That's where I centered all of our different representatives and different things like that. Is I centered it based on Lenawee County, not any other counties. Words to welcome. Deeds. Papers that give the location and details for each home, buying or building in a farm in a county. So basically, if your parents buy a house, they get a deed to the land and saying, hey, they own this. Federal government. Another name for the national government in Washington, D.C. Marriage license, the paper from the county that allows people to be married. Public services, things government does for us. Re-election, being elected to an office more than once. Veto, when the governor says no to a new law. So remember, there's also a cool video that I linked that was one of my favorite Schoolhouse Rock videos of how a bill becomes a law, and they talk about how a veto happens. So that's just in our introductory section. Lansing, or local, who does what? Think about this question while you read. Which services come from the city and which services come from the state? Local government. Your town or city has its own government. In our situation of Addison, it's called a village because it's not that big of a city. This is called the local government. It provides services for the people of your local area. Taking care of the streets is one example. Having a police force is another example. Mayors are important leaders. They are even more important in large cities like Detroit. The mayor leads city government. Cities also have a city council. The mayor and the council work together. They usually meet once a month to talk about what they should do. Anyone can go to these meetings. You can go and hear what they are discussing. Most meetings have a time when anyone can speak. So in this picture, this caption says, Alex and Andrew visit Mayor Michael Sessions of Hillsdale. They are in the room where the city council meets. The mayor is explaining about the city government. So remember, Hillsdale's the county right next to us. So that's where some of you might live. And that our local village of Addison, it has a village council. It's not a city council because Addison's not a city, it's a village. And we don't have a mayor, but we have a village president, which I also attached to the slide coming up. The mayor and the men and women on the city council are elected. Often they serve for 4 years. At that time, another election is held. They may run for re-election, or they may decide not to run again. Mayors and members of the councils put in a great deal of work to do their jobs. The pay is not that much. Most of these government leaders want to help our towns. They want to make them better places to live. This is why they take these jobs. City government services. Oh wait, sorry, I forgot the caption. Up here, it says, vote for me, I want to help. City government services. What does city government do? It is in charge of the police and firefighters. It repairs the streets, it takes care of city parks, and if you have one, the city swimming pool. It may also pick up the garbage. We call these public services. They have this name because they are done for the people. To help you remember them, think of the sounds which go along with each of them. So the firefighters, it says, provide a public service. So in Addison, we don't really have any police officers, but the Lenawee County Sheriff's Department, they service our local area. But we do have 2 firehouses that are pretty cool, and then we have a training center. So that's a nice place. You guys have been to the Addison Fire Hall that's across the street, I'm sure, for different safety things as you guys have grown up. And we don't have a city swimming pool to my knowledge. Or village swimming pool. Your city takes care of other issues too. What are some city issues? Here are some examples. Should the city build a new park? Should skateboarding be allowed on the sidewalks? Should the city dig a new well for drinking water? These are all issues cities decide. Learn more about what your city does. Visit a city council meeting. They are held at your city hall. Now, I'm not 100% positive on where the Addison Village Council meets, but my guess is it's probably in that building that is next to the library, but that's just a guess. I could be completely wrong. I'm now on page 340 in case you're following along. All government meetings are open to anyone who wants to go and listen. These meetings are often shown on the local cable TV channel. What about schools? Well, that would make sense. Schools are in cities, but they are not a part of the city government. Schools have their own school boards. Members of each school board are elected. The school board hires the principals and the teachers, like me. The little boxes on our maps are counties. On some maps, Michigan might look like a jigsaw puzzle. You can see many squares and other small shapes. Why? Those maps show our counties. Each box or shape is one of Michigan's 83 counties. Each has its own name. Counties are named after different things. Iron County has iron mines. Chippewa County is named after an Indian tribe. Jackson County is named after our president. Some of you guys live in Jackson County, probably. Do you know the name of the county where you live? Spoiler alert, I already told you, it's Lenawee. Have someone help you find it on a map. Check to see what other counties touch yours. Well, I'm pretty sure you guys can probably figure that out. But here is the map that we're talking about. I also put a same copy of this map on the slide so you can kind of look at it. I think it's interesting and important to know like where certain counties are if somebody's talking about, oh, hey, I went to this county or that county. So if you look closely, so over here is where Monroe County is. The one right next to it is Lenawee. You can always count it. It's the second county in. Some of you may live in Hillsdale County. And then on top, some of you live in Jackson County. And if you've ever been to Ann Arbor or things like that, that's called Washtenaw County. And those are the 4 counties that touch Lenawee County where our school is. Take a look at, maybe you've been to more counties than you realize. I bet you have. What is a county? It is an area of land. It is like a little state in some ways. Each one has its own capital. This is called the county seat. That county, or that city, has the county courthouse. Trials are held in the courthouse. Counties provide several services. The sheriff and sheriff deputies are a part of the county. they provide police protection outside of our cities. So in this picture, it's always important to read the captions. The Clinton County Courthouse in St. John's, Michigan. So St. John's is like somewhere over here, like on the other side of the state. No, it's not. Never mind. St. John's is up here. It's up here. Sorry, my bad. It's up here. I'm thinking of St. Joseph. That's what I was thinking of. But our county seat in Lenawee County is Adrian, because that's where the courthouse is. I'm pretty sure that Hillsdale is the city of Hillsdale, and Jackson, I would guess, is Jackson, the city of Jackson. Monroe, I'm not 100% positive, but I think it's the city of Monroe. Sometimes it's the city that's named after the county that the city's named after. It's usually where the county seat is. It's usually like the biggest city in the county, but it depends on the county. The county keeps many records that can be helpful. Each has a county clerk, county treasurer, and a registrar of deeds. This last person keeps all the records of who owns property. These records are called deeds. The county clerk's office is the place to go for a marriage license. The county may also decide to build drains. They do this to stop flooding when it rains too much. Each county takes care of miles of roads outside the cities. The people who work in the county courthouse are part of city government. So in the caption up here, it says, counties keep many records about their people and property. And the picture was drawn by Teresa Dieter. Why are there so many counties? Having 83 counties makes it easier for people. They do not need to travel very far to the courthouse. Driving a long way to go to court or find records would be a bother. Our needs are often different. If our counties were huge, it might be hard to help all the people. Because if you needed something, like something basic that you could go to Adrian for, it'd be silly if you had to like drive to Lansing or drive to Ann Arbor to get it if it was one big county. So it's important to have it be smaller. Now, this section is also one of my favorite sections because I love going to the Capitol building. It is so gorgeous. So whenever you're thinking and you're reading these next couple sections, keep in mind this place is super cool and it's open to the public. So if you ever, after everything that's going on in the world that's crazy, if you ever get a chance to go and you don't get to go next year for 4th grade field trip, like you definitely need to try it out because the state Capitol building is beautiful inside. It's absolutely gorgeous. And it's where all the laws are made for our state. So it's a really super cool history place. And it's like a current, it's a current place. It's a currently functioning place. And there's so many different cool things about it. So I attached some of my favorite pictures in the slides after my video right now. But you need to check them out because they're super cool. I even put a video on there of us touring the floor with Representative Bronicali. Super cool and epic. You need to watch it. It's pretty sweet. Moving on. State government. Our state government is in Lansing. It deals with issues affecting the whole state. State government may decide how many days of school you have had each year. It may decide if we need to have a new state symbol. It may decide how many state police to have on the highways. So inside, in the little caption, it says, Michigan Capitol Building in Lansing, photo by the author. So last year, when we had 13 snow days, the governor and the state policymakers in the House and in the Senate, they decided that they were going to forgive 5 extra of those snow days so that we didn't have to make any extra days up of school because everybody was in the same boat. So they have the power to make us not have to have school or have school. Also, the governor has that power as we are currently doing distance learning. She had the power to cancel our school, not just forgive days. So keep that in mind that the government, this government building that's the state capitol is like so important to literally all the different things that we have to do in our state that can't happen in Washington, D.C. for the whole nation, and it can't happen in our local area for the county. Keep in mind, we're talking about state government right now. So it says, the governor leads state government just as the mayor leads the city government. So she's the boss of the whole state. So at the time that this book was written, this lady was the first woman governor of Michigan. Her name's Jennifer Granholm. And so it says Governor Jennifer Granholm, she's the first woman to be Michigan's governor. And we actually have a woman governor right now too. It's the second woman governor that we've ever had. Do you know her name? Her name's Gretchen Whitmer. And I also have her on the slide too, in case you want to see a picture of what she looks like. Making state laws. I'm on page 343. Cities have the city councils to make laws. The state has the House and Senate. It has two groups of lawmakers, while the city has only one. The state lawmakers work in the Capitol building. Here, this can get really super tricky, so pay attention to this section, okay? The name of the building is spelled Capitol with O-L at the end. The city is spelled Capital with an A-L on it at the end. So O-L of Capitol, you say it the same way, but O-L of Capitol means the actual building that we're talking about. So like this is the actual Capitol building. So when we think of building, we're thinking O-L. And whenever we're talking about like the actual name of the city, like Lansing would be A-L. So keep that in mind. It's a little tricky. The way state laws are made is more complex. Before an idea can become a law, it goes to both groups. An idea can start in the House or in the Senate. It is voted on, and if it passes, it goes through another group, or it goes to the other group. So if it starts in the House of Representatives, it goes to the Senate. And if it starts in the Senate, then it goes to the House, and then they both have to approve it, and then they send it to the governor, and the governor says yes or no. And then they figure it all out. So if you watch the How a Bill Becomes a Law Schoolhouse Rock video, it tells you exactly in a really super catchy way. Just FYI. Okay. So then the other group talks about it and votes on it. If both groups say it's okay, it goes to the governor, like I just said. Then the governor decides what he or she thinks. If the governor likes it, he or she signs it. If the governor really does not like the idea of this new law, he or she can veto it. A veto is another way of saying no. So if you say, I veto this, it means I am saying no. So that's what the picture says, is veto. So veto means, hey, we don't like what you're doing, so we're going to tell you no. So the nation's government. Our country has its own government. It makes laws for the whole nation. The president leads the national government. He or she works in Washington, D.C. But remember, Washington, D.C. is not a state. It's its own separate thing that's our nation's capital. So that way it isn't bogged down with things that you have to deal with for a state. That's why it's not a state. It's its own separate thing, so it can be just the federal government and not have to worry about anything locally or state. It's only just the national. So our country has its own government. It makes laws for the whole nation. The president leads the national government. He or she works in Washington, D.C. Sometimes the national government is called the federal government. So when you think national government, think federal government. They're like the same exact thing. It's just another word for it. It provides our Air Force, Army, and Navy. It makes our money. It also makes treaties with other countries saying that we're not going to attack each other. So in this caption it says, the federal government provides the Air Force. So I'm on page 344. Who does that job? With 4 main levels of government, it may be hard to know what each one does. Let's look at an example about highways, roads, and streets. Which leader might suggest a new national highway system? For our first one, who do you think that one might be? It's the president. The president would suggest something like that because it's the whole entire thing. Which leader could work to change the speed limit on Michigan's highways? The governor would do that. So right now it'd be Gretchen Whitmer. She would be in charge of making sure that that could be a new law. Number 3, which leader would make sure a bridge was fixed on a county road? Well, it wouldn't be Washington, D.C. because they probably wouldn't even know that the bridge exists. And Gretchen Whitmer is too busy doing other things like working on our state. So it would have to be like our county commissioner, which I have it on one of their slides from last week, but I left it in so you could see who we're talking about. 4, which leader may suggest a place for a new stop on a city street? A city mayor would do that. So in our situation, it would be the village president would do that. So on most roads, it's 55 is the speed limit. Being close to the situation. Government needs to be close to the people. It must understand their problems and needs. This is why we have so many different levels of government. How can someone in Washington, D.C. know what your city needs? They are far away. They may never have even visited your city. So that wouldn't make any sense thinking about like, okay, hey, in Florida, would they need the same types of things for winter as we would need in Michigan? Probably not, because they don't get much snow. So they wouldn't be able to pass laws to take care of our roads if they didn't have any snow. That wouldn't make any sense. So we would want and more of a like a local level, because you think there's going to be the same amount of snow up in the UP as there is in our local area? That's not possible. So you can't make it be a whole statewide even policy. It would be more of a local thing. Example, how state government works in these areas. Doing things we cannot do alone. How does our state government help us? It provides services we could not do by ourselves. Building the Mackinac Bridge is one example. Taking care of our modern state highways is another. Providing state parks is a third. State government helps us all have better lives. It promotes the common good. Well, one of my favorite things that Michigan does as a state government is put on the state parks, because as you probably know about me already, I love to be outside and I love to go camping and I love to do all those things. So by being able to have those state parks, it gives us the ability to be able to go camping and to go do all those things and go to Ludington or go to Lake Michigan or go to Higgins Lake or Houghton Lake or so many different places throughout the whole entire state. And that's all done because of the state government. So that's why it's super great to have the state government. And then here's the picture of the Mackinac Bridge. The caption says, state government built the Mackinac Bridge for the common good of the people. Protecting our rights. It also provides us with state police. These men and women protect us and help keep us safe. They help protect our rights. State government makes laws that explain our rights. It works to protect our rights using these laws. There are state courts and judges who work to protect our rights and freedoms. So, and then there's a picture, it's like a little bit of an older picture, of a group of Michigan State police officers. It says this is a photo from, so. Making our laws. Our state laws are made in Lansing at the Capitol. Like, oh well, because it's at the building that we're talking about, remember. The Capitol is the building with the big white dome, which if you look on my pictures, that's called a rotunda, remember? No one can make a law alone. It takes people working together to make new laws. The goal of our new laws is to make Michigan a better place to live. It's a pretty great place to live in my opinion, but that's just me, I might be partial. Leadership. So I'm on page 346. Michigan's governor works really hard to lead our state. He or she tries to help find answers to problems. The governor makes speeches. He or she visits groups to talk about the things our state should do. The governor tries to find ways to bring new jobs to Michigan. So if you look at these pictures that are in the book, these are actual pictures I took from last year whenever we went on our field trip, remember? You need to check them out. This is up in the rotunda. It's super, super pretty. So underneath it, there's like this glass floor and you can look up into it. And it's hand painted. All of these little itty bitty stars and everything was hand painted in there. It's like one of the coolest places ever, I swear. This is in, I believe that's in the House of Representatives. That's what it looks like. Yeah, that's the House of Representatives. And it was built in like the 1800s. So it doesn't really look that different, but I have some more updated pictures. This is the governor's office. This is the governor's office inside. When I was there last year, I couldn't take a picture except for the door because she was there. And so we couldn't take pictures of her while she was doing stuff. But the year before I've been in there, and it was a really, really pretty, maybe it was the year before, maybe it was 2 years ago before then. But regardless, it was really cool and it was decorated for Christmas when I was there last time. And it was beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So the caption says, inside Michigan's Capitol, the front of the House of Representatives looking up into the Capitol dome, looking up into the Capitol dome, the governor's office in the Capitol, all photos taken by the author. So I have way more cool pictures than that. Check them out on the slide. because it was sweet. And I highly recommend going. Hopefully you guys can go next year in 4th grade. I feel bad for this year's 4th graders didn't get to go. Anyways, 347 page, last page. Yep. It says, think about it, talk about it. 1, who is the person in charge of state government? 2, who is the person in charge of the city government? 3, why do we have more than one level of government? 4, give an example of a state law. 5, give an example of a city law or village law. Village, you can do that one too. 6, what can the governor do if he or she really does not like the idea for a new law? Remember, it's called a veto. Brain stretchers. Get a copy of your city's budget. Work in small groups. We can't really do that because you have to, yeah. But anyways, decide how to make a chart of the budget for your classroom. If you need a bigger challenge, do the same for the state budget and compare it to your city budget. So you can kind of just look at it and see how cool it is. So this it's saying is the outside of the Capitol dome. So this is the rotunda I was talking about. And this on the inside of this, on the inside of the building, that's what this is. So this is the inside of this part. Really super pretty. Again, I said that probably like a bunch, but still. So in recap, that was chapter 7, lesson 3. If you need any help whatsoever, please, or you just want to pass along some answers or anything like that, just say hi. Make sure you contact your teacher or you contact me or whatever you need to do. But check out the slides. They're really cool. Okay? Until next week, when we learn about chapter 7, lesson 4. I'll see you guys next week, okay? Go Team Amistad.